Hey there, what's going on? This is Coach Kev from Structure Personal Fitness, and today we're going to go over programming, why it's so important, how to do it, what the key details are, and specifically for semi-private personal training, this is a resource both for personal trainers to understand why, like why, how, all that, the timing, and in addition, this is for potentially clients who are like, why do you guys program? Like, what is it? What does it mean? So, just wanted to go over all that. So, and this is a PowerPoint presentation. If you're curious, you can go ahead and send me a note and I'll send it to your way. So first of all, the biggest thing I think that the programming side helps with from the personal training side is that it keeps the trainer engaged. A lot of times trainers get bored. They're just the same exercises over and over again. And when you get to do something a little bit more creative from a programming standpoint, or change the program within themes, you get to do things that you've never done. So for a lot of coaches, trainers, this is a eye-opening experience when they learn how to program. And just so we're clear, it's not really taught to the nth degree within a sports medicine or even a biomechanics. Personal training programming is not taught to the level that coaches in the field can do it. Like a 10-year veteran in the field like myself or Brett Bartholomew or a couple others, Luca, Mark Magna, there's a bunch, Mark Fisher. They can program for just about anybody, and they can also peel back the layers on why programming is so important. And it's just not it's never boring. And so I think when we go over that, that's why we just start with why, right? Like that Simon Sinek book. I think going over some of my programming influences. This is crazy, right? I'm going to go over this list. You're going to be, what? Tudor Bampa was basically the founder of periodization. I got to see him speak in college in 2004, maybe 2003, at a regional a regional NSCA convention, and I was like, wow, this guy is just. And then I got the book shortly after, periodization, and then I think there was two of them, serious strength training. The other ones that influenced me first was John Davies in Renegade Training for Football, his book, and then similarly was Joe Ken. Joe Ken is the founder of the TIER, or the creator of the TIER program. And so when I was at the University of Buffalo for strength and conditioning, the outline of their strength and conditioning program was based on Joe Ken's work, and so that also influenced me. Dave Tate and Jim Wendler. It doesn't go beyond saying that those powerlifters in my powerlifting days, they helped me program and learn programming and learn all sorts of details on training. So they were very, very big influences. Uh, and Elite FTS. I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but Elite FTS used to send out an email newsletter on Friday. I used to refresh my email just because I was so excited on Friday mornings to see their articles and like what was coming out. So Elite FTS had a big influence. Other people that really kind of influenced the programming side of things. Robert Medias and the book Men's Health Power Training helped me break down the programming and like how to categorize by movement pattern. And then Charles Staley, his book Escalating Density Training, kind of gave me this experience with EMOM, or Every Minute on the Minute. Dan John's book of Never Let Go really forced me to think about programming different than I ever had, right? Like when you do left side only, like who does left side only one day and then right side only? But why wouldn't you? If you work muscles in the front side of the body and then posterior of the body one day, like just forced me to think about things different. And then obviously from the physical therapist side, sports medicine side, that's my background. So that's more the ease of conversation, and that comes a little bit more naturally than the strength and conditioning, because I wasn't necessarily taught that. But Dr. Stuart McGill, and then obviously Greg Cook, both from seeing them at the Perform Better seminars, but also at Ultimate Back Performance, and then Greg Cook's book. So that's kind of the evolution of how I learned to program, and also why I've learned that programming is just so important, because over the course of time, those influences changed my programming. I remember my first couple clients at Equinox on the Upper East Side. I mean, I was training a mom, I was training a somebody in finance, and they both had dynamic bench days. I mean, what an idiot. But now I've just learned, the difference in programming. So moving forward, I think there's a couple keys to effective programming, and then we'll go into, the more details on programs. So first of all, I think clients all should be on similar programs. Let me break that down. Everybody needs a 7 to 9 essential movements within their program, like in their workout, right? So a program is, let's say, 1, 2, or 3 workouts broken up into different movement patterns, 1 leg, 2 leg, barbell versus dumbbell, right? It's just broken down. So with that, I think most people need roughly the same thing. Now, how does that change? If it's somebody used to kettlebells, if it's somebody used to barbells, dumbbells, body weight, and in addition, what equipment do you have available? That's how that changes. It sounds so simple, so rudimentary, but that's the basics. And so when it comes to one-on-one personal training or semi-private personal training, it really doesn't matter, because the person in front of you matters more, and then their skill level matters more. So when you program, I always go back to my foundational movements and then what their capability is and their goal, and wherever their capability is and wherever their goal is, that's where the workout meets the eye. Scaling your workouts and scaling the programs. I think there's a couple different categories here. From a beginner to an advanced, it's actually funny because I would say advanced lifters usually do less. Advanced trainees usually do less. They just do it very well. Young lifters versus older lifters. You get people 55 and up versus somebody who's under 18. They're going to be doing very different workouts. Women and men, I would say that from a programming standpoint, the biggest thing that I have learned, and this is maybe a New York thing, maybe it's just the clientele that we have a lot of people in fashion that don't want bigger legs. So we train a lot more glute and hip hinge motions than we do squat patterns. So we don't do a lot of back squats. We don't do a lot of heavy loaded lunges, because we know that can cause hypertrophy in the thigh area. And when you cause hypertrophy in the thigh area, then people say, well, my clothes don't fit. My thighs are getting big. Well, yeah, it's probably because you're doing exercises that cause hypertrophy of the lower leg. So from a female standpoint, we don't usually do that. But that's how we scale that. Let's see. There's a quote about like the insanity workouts and muscle confusion principles, and I follow science and scientific principles, and doing the same thing over and over again, like the same workout over and over again, is different in concept than it is in just saying that, right? So like if you just do cardio, right? You're basically going to get cardiovascular adaptations. You're going to get your heart and lungs in better shape, great, and potentially some muscular adaptations, but not the same. Now, after let's say a year or two of doing that, you're going to need something different. You just will. We know that for a fact. Your body will stop adapting. Your cardiovascular and heart rate and heart adaptations are going to go down. You're just going to get a less return from your investment. So that's when it becomes doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results starts to get a little bit questionable. So I think the reason I said that is just because I have a picture of the insanity workout program and what that means and why insanity is effective. It's changing things up, right? Like they actually do the never the same workout over the course of a long period of time, and I know a couple other training routines that the workout of the days, the WODs, they don't do the same thing more than once every 30 or 90 days. The difficult part there is that you need to see adaptation. You need to show progression, right? The reason for the season of programming within, we usually have an A, B, and C, and that's per category, like per month or per every 4 to 5 weeks. The reason that we do that is simple. We want to see people progress over the course of that 3 to 5 week window, and when they complete that progression, then we know they're at a different level. once we know they're at a different level, then we win because they're benching more, squatting more, deadlifting more, whatever their progression was, going from a kneeling ab wheel plank to a standing ab wheel, whatever. They now can do something that they didn't do before. So the concept of showing people what progression is and showing people a variability within a routine can come from the sets, reps, and just numbers. And this is why some people say, I have a programming story in a second, but some people say, well, I can just remember what they did from last time. Or I've seen some coaches they have a workout of the day and everybody does the same workout. No, that's not going to work. And so what we do is we scale every workout per person and per exercise. So, every workout has, let's see, a push, a pull, a hip hinge, a knee dominant motion, a stabilization and rotation, and a power exercise if applicable. And so all of those exercises that kind of just checking the box are covered. And do we go outside those? Do we double up some? Sure. Do we double up? Do we eliminate some? Sure. Depending on them and the person, if they got bad knees, if they have shoulder issues, whatever. But we do vary it. But the concept of programming and showing the variation within the program over exercise selection is overrated. And that's just simple because, like I said, the elite athletes of the world, go ahead and watch on YouTube. You'll see, or on Instagram, you're going to see what they do, and you're going to be like, oh, I do that. Oh, I do that too. Huh, why are they doing the same thing? But then you look at, oh my God, they do that so well. Because that's the thing, is doing the basics extraordinarily well usually is a sign of somebody who's an extraordinary executor or athlete or something like that. I think another key of programming is to give people what they want while marrying the program outline with what they need. They're always going to need a warm-up, right? Most people don't move well in general, so they're always going to need a warm-up. They're always seated, so getting them warmed up on some movements and getting them some activation for some glutes, that's so important. So for almost everybody, that's going to be part of our routine. I'd say 95%. They're going to warm up before, they're going to warm up first, they're going to do a total body warm-up, and most people are going to go total body in terms of their training. And then we're always going to try to do new variations. I call it entertaining. I'm not afraid to say that. Sometimes I'll say, yeah, we're doing 3 sets because I want to entertain you with some different exercises today. Cool. Awesome. Keep them engaged, right? They're always going to get some abs. They're always going to get some form of cardio. I like a concept here that I started to implement lately from the book. I think it's called Peak Moments, the power moments, something like that, by Chip and Dan Heath. Check it out. Great book. It's got like lightning in a bottle, I think, or something on the cover. And they talk about every good movie has a peak middle and then a peak end. Like a peak battle scene or a peak dramatic moment in the middle, and then a peak dramatic moment in the end. And these great movies, they grasp our attention. And so similarly, I've been implementing this concept within classes with a Tabata or a challenge in the middle and then a challenge at the end, and it seems to work well with engagement, right? So you're building them up to that middle part and then coming back down, and then at the end you're that grand finale like fireworks. Same thing. It's bam, bam, bam right at the end. So just giving that, and it could be from a cardiovascular perspective, and it could be from something else, but giving them a little bit of what they want seems to be helpful. As far as boredom, you should never get bored. There's just too many examples. I call it periodization. You can call it whatever you want, but understanding how to program and giving the basic movements a run for the money in terms of the variations, in terms of the equipment used. There's too many variations, so you shouldn't get bored. I don't think the industry as a whole is helping because Instagram, right? Too many people are just looking for the coolest exercise to do instead of the simplest exercise that they can do in order to get their results, right? Minimum effective dose. So yeah, I think a lot of people they need to focus on the basics. I think with that same token, people do have a short attention span, personal trainers included. But I think another key to programming as a coach is to get them thinking about, or to get you thinking about the different learning styles. So different learning styles, there's certain people that are going to want external cues, like they're going to need a box squat, and some people just need a mirror, right? They can to learn their depth. So just depends on the person. Let's go over now, in 4 minutes or less. Let's go over some of my favorite programs. I kind of mentioned the influences before, and I think to this day there's still some of my favorite programs. So the three favorite are simple. Escalating density training, also known as density training, also known as EMOM. That's one of my favorites. Just from a time perspective, maximizing the time without feeling like you're going super heavy while still feeling like you're getting a lot of volume. Volume equals sets times reps times weight, and still feeling like you got a great workout. This is one of my favorites. And how you do it is simple. You set a timer for, let's say, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 minutes. Could be whatever. Let's use the number of 10. And you'd be doing 5 sets of one exercise, 5 sets of the other. An advanced version would be to be doing all 10 sets of something. And you would do that for the 10 minutes, but you would do it for 10 reps, let's say, on the minute. So that's one of my favorites. So you'd go minute 1, 10 reps, let's say, of a Romanian deadlift. And then minute 2, you do 10 reps of, let's say, an ab wheel. And then that would be every minute alternating between those. So 10 reps, and then the remaining time in the minute, you rest. And then 10 reps, the remaining time in the minute, you rest. Right? So you go back and forth between those exercises. After that period is up, then you move on to the next. One of my favorites. Another one that I really, really love, which we're doing with our clients right now, is either 5, 10, 15, 20, or the opposite, 20, 15, 10, 5. Real simple. You're changing the rep schemes and getting them working outside of their normal rep ranges. Most people, as we know, 8 to 12, 6 to 10, 10 to 15, 15, but rarely is it 5 to 20. So what we do in the 20 down to 5 category, which is our program du jour right now, is you basically start with an exercise, and the weight that you're going to lift is 20 reps. So let's say it's a barbell back squat, and you normally can squat 200 pounds, and you're probably going to be 100 pounds, and you're going to do that for 20 reps. And then your next set, you're going to do what you're going to do for 15, so it's probably 125. And then you're going to do what you can do for 10 reps, so it's probably 150. And then your last set is going to be what you can do for 5 reps, so probably closer to 175, just using round numbers for conversation's sake. So it's a really good opportunity for people to get used to what they're not, right? So they're going to get used to expanding their normal rep ranges, and with the expansion of the rep ranges, they're going to, their mind stimulated, again, keeping it interested, and keep the exercises similar so they can practice them. And then in addition, they get to really focus on their form while doing more reps. So it's fun for a lot of people. On the flip side, if they're a veteran trainee, you can go the other way. So have them get all warmed up and then start at the top. So they're going to do 5 reps in the first set, 10 reps, and then 15, and then 20. So that's the simplest way to do it. Now, if you have a little bit more time under your on your hands, then something that you can probably do a little bit different is a 5 by 5, 5 sets, 5 reps. You could do it straight sets or paired with something else, but you just rest as needed. So it's usually more than 60 seconds, sometimes longer, like 20, and you just go back and forth with between 2 exercises, and it's a very different way to get your body from a strength perspective exposed to higher rep ranges and longer rest periods. Me personally, I like to see people do that, especially if you have trouble getting them to push heavier weights. A lot of people are like, no, that's good, no, that's good. And so their tolerance for intensity isn't there, meaning the weight lifted. So for those people, I like to see them outside of their comfort zone. That's it as far as this round of programming concepts and like what, the why, some of the details, some of my influences. Some, by the way, you could be influenced by them too. All those books are great. And what I'd like to do is open the floor to you. Whatever questions that you have, please shoot them my way. I love talking about programming. I think it's a fun topic to talk about. But it's also very confusing for people who can get lost in the nuances of my client wanted this, my client. Well, if you can tune in to the why behind your client and then also get some sort of metrics for yourself to gauge your programming success, then you start to have a better pulse of programming and what your client wants. So that's all for now, guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and shoot any questions my way.